Swamiji continued the discussion on Atman and explained that the ultimate reality, Brahman, is beyond all attributes and limitations. The concept of neti neti or theory of rejection is reiterated where one rejects all that is known and experienced, leading to the realization of the unknown and unchanging Atman. The rejection process, which is called neti neti, denies all forms and formlessness, murta and amurta, leading to the realization of space consciousness or Atman. This takes us to the core meaning of the shlokas conveyed by Acharya and removes the layers of ignorance and misconceptions. Atma has no other definition other than its Swarupa Lakshana, which is Satchidananda. Swamiji pointed out that rejection or denial and acceptance have the same level of consciousness. The knower of denial remains, indicating the existence of Atma. Shloka 31 points out that the consciousness witnesses the absence of nature and forms still remains, and that is Brahman. In Vedanta, the denial remains, the knower of non existence remains. When you have reached that last point, that is the experience of Atma. The ultimate process of Vedanta to reach Atma is discussed here. Shloka 32 says that having denied all that is fit to be denied, that self is left behind as the self. In Neti Neti, the first Neti negates Maya, the second Neti negates its effect, which is the gross and the subtle creation. We then reach the Brahma reality, the self, the Sakshat Aparoksha Brahma through this Neti Neti Prakriya. This part of knowledge is missing in material science. The mind, intellect have the capacity to reach this point of liberation, of all pervading or omniscient knowledge. Like the seed, the mind too has the potentiality to expand to the same level of understanding and expansion. We want to become like the source, to become godlike, and that is why we want to expand to the same level of understanding. In Shloka 33, Acharya continues with the same idea. The entire world that can be objectified as this can be negated, but what is not this cannot be denied. The consciousness of everything, Atma, remains, therefore, it cannot be denied. This indestructible witness is the self. The witness is the perceiver and not what is perceived. In Shloka 34, the second Lakshana of Brahman is elaborated. We began with Satyam, Jnanam, and Anantam. Satyam and Jnanatvam have been discussed. We discussed the point that the consciousness of Atma can be experienced by Swayameva, by yourself. Shloka 35 talks about the last Lakshana, which is Anantatva, meaning infinite. Brahman is omnipresent, all pervasive, and not limited by the three types of limitation, which is space, time, and object. Absence of these limitations are in Brahman as its Lakshana. We should apply these discussions to ourselves and contemplate on them and not understand them academically only. Shloka 36 explains that space, time, objects in them are illusions caused by Maya. So, Brahman is limited by them. We say Maya as empirical reality, phenomenon that is like a dream. Therefore, infinity of Brahman is established both by Shruti and logic. Shloka 37 says that we say Brahman alone exists. Then, but we continue to talk about Ishvara and Jiva. We believe that God is the creator, the preserver, and the protector. With this Ishwarahood, there is limitation. Brahman is Vedanta Brahman, and Ishwar is the Bhakti school of thought. You have objective limitation with Ishwaratvam or Ishwarahood and Jivatvam or Jivahood, which means the Jivahood is this individual. There is a limitation and you have to accept it. Brahman is called Ishwara and Jiva according to the functions it performs. Shloka 38 gives the answer to the above query. There is a power called Maya of Ishvara that controls everything. Shakti, a divine, inexplicable power which is difficult to explain, is there. Shakti is the deciding principle of everything that happens. What does not happen? The manner in which it happens. This Shakti lies in the Anandamaya Kosha, the bliss sheath, and from there to all the objects seen outside. It limits your mind, and you think that you have time, space, and everything. That Shakti makes the Ishvara. In Shloka 39, Acharya tells us how one know that there is this Shakti. This power must be accepted, for without it, the uniformity of nature would not be there. This Vastu Dharma, the particularity of objects, are because of this. If this were not there, then the qualities of objects would mix with each other and there would be a big chaos. Dharma Sankariyam, admixture of qualities, will be the result. Creation would be in utter disorder. Maya, a divine power, controls the manifestation of the world, maintaining order and indicating future events also. One should accept Maya as Shakti without any judgment of what happens. The discussion also highlights the importance of understanding the signs and indications of the universe which can provide insight into future events. There is no accident, incident. Whatever happens is happening with a methodology. Swamiji encouraged everyone to develop their intellect and intuition to recognize these signs and navigate life's challenges. The class concludes with an emphasis on the importance of acceptance and surrender to the natural flow of life. By letting go of judgments and desires, one can align with the natural order of the universe and realize the ultimate reality, which is Atman. Thank you, Hari Om Swamiji. Swamiji will take over. Hari Om.
Smriti-Purāṇānaṁ Kरुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। नमस्ते शङ्करानन्द गुरुपादाम्बुजन्म सविलासमहामोह ग्राहग्रासैककर्मणे श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। Om Namo Narayana. We are in the last part of third chapter, where the discussion has been on five koshas and how the five koshas are different from Atma. So this is what we discussed. Now, in connection with the Dvaita and Advaita, so Vedanta says only consciousness exists, Brahman exists. Then what about Maya? Now in last slokas, we have just discussed about Maya. Therefore, another question, another doubt right here is, if we consider Maya as Shakti, then Maya is one existence and consciousness is another existence. And Maya is not consciousness, Maya is inert. Then there is a chance for duality. So how we solve this problem? Though this subject we have already discussed in detail in many other shlokas, where we have discussed what is Maya and its effects and how Maya is connected with. But here, the last part, to conclude this, some special points the Acharya wants to bring up some special points. So he is putting this doubt, bringing up this doubt, just clarify the reason. What is the connection between Maya and Ishvara as consciousness? So the next sloka, 14th sloka says, Chichayaveshadashaktischedhanaiva vibhadisa तच्छक्त्युपाधि संयोगा ब्रह्मेवीश्वरतां व्रजेत् चिच्छायावेशतः शक्ति. This energy, which is this power, which is called Maya, power to create, power of protection, power of destruction. So this power called Maya, that power has three qualities: Sattva, Raja, and Tam. Maya is constituted by these qualities. So Maya is equal to Sattva, Raja, and Tam. And together these three makes Maya, and then the energy of as action appears. So this we have already discussed. So Chit Chaya, therefore Maya's another name is Chit Chaya. Yani this means reflection of consciousness. So what Maya is? The reflection of consciousness. So that is called Shakti, power. Chedaneva Vibhadisa. Now, since the reflection is there, Maya apparently considered as consciousness. Chetana iva vibhadisa appears as consciousness. Like our mind appears as consciousness. intellect appears as consciousness, body appears as consciousness. So when we know our body acts like consciousness because body knows, body has sensation, and mind, of course, mind knows objects outside. So this shows there is a reflection. There is somehow the consciousness is affected. So therefore, that is called, in that situation we call it as apparently consciousness. That is Chetana Iva. The word means Chetana Iva, apparently considered as consciousness. Tad Shakti Upadhi Samyoga Brahmaiva Ishwarada. So with the connection with this Maya Shakti, as we studied in Tattvabodha very clearly, that the pure consciousness has no power of creation, protection, or destruction, or change of it. So it is actually, actionless, motionless. There is no action, no motion, no creation, no effect, no reaction, nothing. So it is achalam and kutastha. So these words we know. It stays the same. It never changes. Kutastha is unchangeable, unmovable. But when this consciousness is connected with Shakti Maya, that Shakti Upadhi Samyoga. So this Upadhi is association. The association of the special attribution as Maya, that is the Sattva Rajas Tamo Guna. Sattam Shakti Upadhi Samyoga, Brahmaiva Ishwaranam Raje. The pure consciousness as Brahman, the Brahman alone changed into or considered to be Ishvara. So the Ishvaratam Rajeti, Ishvarahood, the Brahma will get special qualification as Ishvara. The Brahma become Ishvara, and Brahma gets Ishvarahood. So this part is just an introduction for next chapter, because this special connection of Brahma, Ishvara, and Maya, we will discuss it in next chapter. From the next chapter, the first sloka itself starts with this. So this is how the inert Maya, Jada Maya, become consciousness, it can make action, control action. Mind doesn't have any special quality. Act alone. Maya cannot independently act. Maya is always dependent on consciousness for actions. And consciousness has no action. The consciousness is depending on Maya for action. So this is the mutual connection, mutual relation of Maya and consciousness. Now, considering this appearance as Maya, we call it that particular consciousness as Ishvara. So he gets the name as Ishvara. So we should be very clear. All Vedanta students, they should be very clear about this. In Vedanta, even Ishvara, the Supreme God, is not ultimate. Supreme God has this qualification. Supreme God is qualified consciousness. I gave this word before also. So qualified consciousness and pure consciousness is unqualified consciousness, means without qualifications. It has no qualification. So therefore, it is called nirguna. Nirguna and amaya. There is no maya in, actually, there is no maya in that consciousness, that level of consciousness. So now, people may ask, how can we differentiate this pure consciousness from qualified consciousness or supreme God? How we differentiate? What is the purpose? In Vedanta, this differentiation has no other purpose than to make us understand how the creation happened. So we need a supreme power, an efficient cause for this creation. So for that purpose, this pure Brahman is logically and purposefully made as God, Supreme God. This is the methodology of teaching. So we need to teach you that how this creation happened. So for that, we bring this God as the creator. So God has all the powers, all the knowledge, Sarvajna, Sarvashaktiman, and God knows every bit of action because God has the superpower as mind. And the Maya is powered by three gunas. And three gunas and Maya is equal. And then with this powerful Maya, which has three gunas, God can create, the consciousness can create everything. Like when your mind is working, mind has action. You can do everything. You create a new world in your dream. So the dream is not different from you. And you create a new world. Similarly, in Jagrat, waking state, we are creating our own world, enjoying to experience. So this is also consider our everything with our own intellect. Maya's affect all these creations. So our body, mind, our intellect, everything is created by mind. So that is why Brahma, Brahmaiva Ishvaradam, that Brahman alone. Don't think there is a Brahman different from Maya or Maya is different from Brahman and there is a God, super God. To know nothing. So the same consciousness with power appearingly it considered as consciousness with the mind. So where the action and reactions happen. Okay, so now we are taking up the rest of the shlokas, the last part of this. So the Jiva, now the another limitation of consciousness. One is Ishvara. Ishvara is also a limitation of consciousness with the Maya. So Maya limits the consciousness. This is called Ishvara. Now we have another consciousness. Normally we experience Jiva. This is the individual consciousness. Now that's also limiting the all-pervading consciousness. The universal consciousness, all-pervading consciousness is limited by mind and intellect. This particular individual mind and individual intellect, individual that what we call as a personality. So the personality is limited in the consciousness. If we dispel the personality, we remove the personality and try to experience our own true nature, the nature which we experience in deep state, then there is no individuality. So the consciousness again is all pervaded. We experience the anandam there, infinite uh, appearance of existence. So that is discussed in this sloka. Koshobhadhivivakshayam yadi brahmaiva jivata पिता पितामहश्चैकः पुत्रः पौत्रस्यथा प्रति. So here Vidyaranya Mahaswami is giving a very practical example. You see, in all discussion, very rarely he brings examples because it's a direct teaching. He thinks that you are very capable of knowing this without examples. Our gurus used to say, in Vedanta, you should be very careful using examples. Now, if you bring an example on or an instance, the students may take it in some other way, because the example everybody knows. Therefore, we bring that example. Both of us, the teacher and the student, both knows well about the example. But what happens? We don't know how student takes that example in that particular point, because that example is well known. It can be taken in some other way. So what the teacher, the acharya want to convey through that example should be clearly explained with that. The point should be very clear. Otherwise, again, with that example, there rise many questions. So therefore, using example are very rare here in Vedanta, and we are very particular about special examples which are very much conveying the meaning or the intended meaning. So that is the intention of the example is very special. So we have to find out the point which is intended there to put. Now here he is bringing that kosha upadhi vivakshayam yad brahmaiva jivata. Don't worry about your jivahood, jivatva. The jiva is explained by this, that the same Brahma, that the last slokas there, the 40th slokas there, brahmaiva ishvaradam prati. So the same Brahma, the Brahma alone become jiva. Brahmaiva jivatam prati. How? With all these koshas, kosha vivakshaya, with the reference of these 5 koshas. When the koshas are referred, when we discuss all these 5 koshas, we need to bring jiva there to know Jiva and separate Jiva from Kosha, misidentification, separate Jiva from all misidentification. This Kosha discussion comes. So in that relation, related to that, regard to that, this Jivatva comes. If you don't want to discuss koshas, Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manamaya Kosha, mind, intellect, all day. If you don't want to discuss, you don't want them, you know all what is happening there, then there is no jiva. There is no jiva. Then why we need jiva? If you want to forget your physical body, why we should consider human as ourselves as human beings? There is no need, no. When you don't consider your body as real, you are not human. When you don't consider your mind as real, you are not human. And you don't consider your ego, intellect as real, you have no personality. You are not a person. You are all Sarvabhyapi. You are Brahman. So the personality, for the person, know the personality. You need the ego. So you bring ego, I am this, I am that, I know this, I know that. So all types of what you say, the upadhis. So you bring all those upadhis. Then you enjoy it. But if you don't want to discuss about this, also upadhi vivakshaya, only in reference with koshas, only in regard with koshas, we need to bring jiva. Otherwise, jiva is not different from Brahma. Brahma is jiva. So therefore we call it as misidentification. Reality is something else, and you are identifying with something else. You see how it happens now. That, for instance, Pida Pidamahascha Eka Putra Pautro Yatha. Now, one person who is grandfather is a person. So, Pidamahascha Eka. So, the person is one. So, he is grandfather to somebody and father to somebody. So to one person he is grandfather, and the same person to another person is father. So that is the relation. For grandson, he is grandfather. For son, he is father. Now, what is his reality? What is the truth there? Can we call that person as father? Or can we call that person as grandfather? Or you can add more. He's a brother, he's a friend, he's a husband. No, can add all relating things. Now, who is he? Is all these qualifications are or relations are real, then he must be many, with many forms. But no, he is only one with one personality. But considering grandson and son, he become father and grandfather. That's all. It's only with the relation. It's a theory of relation. So different relation makes different actions and different reactions. So different relation makes different actions and different reactions. You will see in your life. You take everyday life and see how your body and mind works. body and mind works with different relations, with different personality. You are friendly with your friend, good friend. You are a little different with your parents. You respect your parents. You are different with your husband. You are different with your children. So this, so many differences are taking place in our mind every day. So this is what we call as upadhi. We just believe that is upadhi. It's just you are making all this drama. It's like drama you are acting in different form. And you have this quality, you can do that. So therefore you are doing it well for many, many years without confusion. You will never think about this. How I am this, how I am that, how I am a mother, how I am a grandmother, how I am a friend, how I am a person. So we are not thinking that. All these qualifications are there in your mind when mind is working perfectly with all its variation and things. Then you are perfect. If mind is confused, mind has some disease, some disorders, then everything will change. You will not believe all your personality, whatever you are thinking about you will change suddenly. So now, for the sake of our day-to-day life, by the grace of God, our mind is in order, is working in order. If it gets into disorder, then everything goes. So therefore, is what we discussed as all these koshas in reference with the jiva. Jiva is with the koshas. So therefore, it has no separate entity. So the subject is continued. Putradev vivakshaya napita napita तद्वद्नेशो नाभिजीवः शक्तिकोशाविवक्षणे. So now here Swamiji brings both that statements. There is no Ishvara without Maya. There is no Jiva without five koshas. If there is no Maya, then Ishvara and consciousness is one and the same. If there is no five koshas, the jiva and consciousness is one and the same. If you believe in this, you take up this point and contemplate on this, then the Vedanta is complete and our chapter is also complete. So this is what Vedanta wants to teach. The putrare avivakshayam na pita. Without reference of without reference of the grandson and son, there is no grandfather, there is no father. He is no more grandfather, he is no more grandmother, he is no more father, no more mother. So this is how it happens. So we know how we make all this. Now separate all these attributions, all these connections. So similarly, without the reference of Maya, there is no super God, supreme God. So without the reference of five koshas, without the reference of mind, body, intellect, There is no existence called Jivatma. There is no existence called you. So Avivakthane Shakti Kosha Avivakthane. So this is how this existence is all about. It's very simple and direct. Now what is the doubt? What is the chance for doubt? If we can prove that without kosha, my existence is there, my personality is there, I am there as so and so, even without references of koshas. If you can prove that, then we can discuss on that. But you cannot. Therefore, unfortunately, you are afraid of not separating this kosha. You want to connect more with these questions. Always think about this. Because you know, if I separate this, if I don't think about this, if I forget my mind, forget my body, forget my this thing, what I am no existence. So this is ajnana, this is ignorance. This is the confusion superimposition. This is illusion, this is juggler. So just to take up that point alone, that particular point, and stand on that, make the point the object of meditation and contemplate on that. I am doing all these things. Now Vedanta says, Vedanta is indicating that you are doing all these wrong things. You are identifying yourself with all these bodies and mind, which are not there in your true nature. So only this much Vedanta wants to teach. There is nothing else. Vedanta cannot make you conscious or consciousness, super consciousness, or Brahman or Atma. Vedanta cannot make you. No guru can. If any guru says, I can make you Brahman and teach you Brahman, and you will have samadhi on Brahman or Bodhis, any guru says he is totally wrong and it's not possible. It cannot be made. It's always there. And what is already there, how can you bring the process of it? So this is very obvious that this point, if you get into this point, you are one with that. So only separate this. So last class we discussed this, the theory of negation, rejection. So this is why we call it as rejection, negation. Otherwise, there is no need for neti rejection. Why would we know we should reject? What is there to reject? Only to make you know that you are alone, your reality is the reality. So this reality, what you are experiencing, is seemingly real, but not really exists. So this, to make this separation, all this discussion happens. Now, at the conclusion, the sloka comes. He is always referring to the scriptures. Evam Brahma Vedesha Brahmaiva Bhavati Swayam Brahmano Nasti Janmada Punaresha Najayate. Evam Brahma Vedesha Brahmaiva Bhavati Swayam Brahmano Nasti Janmada Punaresha Najayate. Evam Veda Brahma Veda Yesha Brahmaiva Bhavati. Whoever comes to know this, the reality of Brahman, the reality of himself, he becomes Brahma. So Brahma Veda, Brahmaiva Bhavati. So now here is actually knowing is recognition. He's identity, he's changing his identification. Previously, the sadhaka, he was identifying himself with the body, mind, foundation. Now he changes his identification with natural, with himself, one's own self. So that point we call it Veda. So misidentification changed into identification, real identification. That's called Brahmacharya. Your misidentification was body and mind correlation, and now you change that into your own self-identification. So, who have identified in their consciousness with the Brahman will not be reborn. Brahmano nasti janma, because Brahman has no birth time. Therefore, who have identified, who sadhakas have identified themselves in their consciousness, their own consciousness. So they become Brahman. So Brahman will not be reborn. So therefore there is no rebirth. Brahman will not be reborn. There is no birth for Brahman. There is no birth for consciousness. So this is a blessing. Now the last sloka, your Mahaswamiji bless you with this. So where our consciousness get rooted in Brahman and put an end to this earthly body, no, this grief-stricken earthly body. So may our that consciousness, super consciousness, bless us with this. So we can go out of this birth and death stuck to samsara chakra. So there is no happiness, there is no sorrow, there is nothing to see and know. There is nothing to even experience. You are the experience itself. You are Brahman, you are the experience. So that is the blessing. With these blessings, here Vidyaranya Mahaswamiji concludes the third chapter of Pancakoshaviveka, discrimination of 5 koshas. So we have completed the chapter. So now contemplate on this each sloka, because in this chapter we have discussed many important points in depth. So the points of Vedanta, it changes your life direction. If you listen to this, meditate on this, definitely you will get the benefit. So that is what I can say now. I hope after studying on this day, especially in this second chapter and third chapter, you have got much more clarity of Vedanta. So, of course, we will contemplate more on this. But as you see, there is nothing more, much more to come. We will discuss these points in different levels. with more and more explanation, elaboration. So that is the alt Pancadashi is going to do that. And when we enter into next chapter, so there he will bring the difference between, to take up the point of Ishvara and Jiva and the Jagat, the Prapancha, the creation what discuss. So this is we are going to discuss. So I tried my best to simplify the whole concept with my little understanding of the slokas. Hope you have catched some of the points and you enjoyed it. But we can discuss on this and review this chapter. So I think each of you can write a review on this third chapter. Now, on this review, every class we read before the class, like the beginning of the class, that is prepared by Kamalaji or three of our students. And now, I think each of you try to make one review, one preparation on this with your own words, your own experience, and write down, because when we write, you get more clarity in that. You have time. So before next class, you can post your reviews, your experiences in a perfect writing, and post into our group so that others can also see it. Or if you want to convey it personally, that's also possible. You can personally send to our admins or directly to me or whatever way. So please do that. So this revision is always necessary. Our whole study is not just complete the test. So while we read the test, study the test, we must have that certain experience what is discussed. So take up that review and do it. Okay. So especially on these practices we have discussed in many special discussion, we brought up the practices, how we can practice. So that you have done some practice, then that also you mentioned. So after practicing, after listening to this, I could change this, I could know this, and all this like that. Okay. So thank you. That last chapter we also did story writing photos that I will do later when I get time. Some special following practices. So first I get the reviews and the experiences group, then I will write on that is needed. After that, we will go for the next chapter if it is necessary. Similarly, last time also I told you because what you want to know you got already, then there is no need to study the next chapter. So if you want to know more, if there is some chance you want to know more, then we will go for the next chapter. Otherwise, you are complete, you are done. You know, I know it. How this is what we are going to discuss. and I say, this is what is going to discuss. There is nothing new in Vedanta. So we will discuss in different ways that the different quotations, references, that's all. Okay, thank you. Can take up the questions. Over to you for the questions.
Swamiji, there is one question from Rakesh Handuji. Would you please unmute and switch on your video and ask your question?
Om Namo Narayana Swamiji.
Om Namo.
Hari Om. In the concluding shloka of this chapter, third chapter, it was said that Brahma Veda Brahma Eva Bhavati. That means one who knows Brahman fully becomes Brahman only. But but since Jiva is engulfed in these 5 koshas, so I presume that as like on death, I can shed off one kosha, that is the Annamaya kosha, right? My intellect, my mind, my thoughts, my sanskars, they go with me. They go with my Sukha Sharira. So if I know Brahman fully, how can I become Brahman? Is it possible? Because by knowing only, I think only Gyan cannot work. Gyan coupled with Bhakti is a marga for knowing Brahman, I suppose. Can you please enlighten?
Yes, yes. This is the, we can say this is the special thing in Advaita Vedanta, the Upanishad Vedanta. We have many Vedantic schools, even in our India, we have so many schools of Vedanta. But the special character, the special point in Advaita Vedanta is, if you realize yourself as Brahman, you are already Brahman. You are only realizing it, recognizing it. So, if you are already Brahman, you are only recognizing it and realizing it, then how can you say, you carry something, you bring something, make something, nothing. So, all this making and bringing and carrying is with the 5 koshas. So those koshas and its effects will be along with you until you get this realization. Means when that until the ignorance, ajnana is there, these koshas will be along with you. And when you realize and know the truth, the ajnana is gone, then the koshas has no actual connection with it. So this is this is the methods here, how we think about this. In other school of Vedanta, they believe even after realizing the realized soul, enlightened soul will take up his mind and intellect and special knowledge with him and go to another realm of world, another worlds and enjoy there with their Ishta Devata and the different Lokas. All these various interesting stories are there. Stories are there. So you go to there and you see many things there and you bring back all those stories. But those stories are there in Vedanta as well, but only for those who are not realized. So the realized being become one with Brahma and Brahman itself in this world. As we call it as Jivan Muktas. So therefore, there is no point of taking away or this or karma and this. The main point of this discussion is that you are already Brahma, because Satchitananda is always there. It is made of everything. And if you don't accept, you accept or whatever. Your body and mind is made of materials that you have to accept. And you have consciousness that you are experiencing. Therefore, you are Brahman, you are one with that. So to take this point, to take away this point, one needs to practice that intense. In that intensity practice, it will come to you as you are enjoying the objects, as you are enjoying the dream, as you are enjoying the deep sleep. This is the reality. This is the special theory of Veda.
Yeah, but Swamiji, I beg pardon. Suppose I realize in this janma, but I have heard that a person or a man carries the punya papa karmas of many janmas. Like Krishna, when on this Vishnu Pitama was on the bed of arrows, he asked Krishna what wrong I have done and why I am getting this dukkha on this bed of arrows. Then Krishna said him that, do you know how many janmas you have been on this earth, and whatever you have done on in other janmas. So despite being a very virtuous person, Bhishma Pitama had to endure that misery, sort of, right? So how can we I mean uh, do away with all the karmas of all the janmas, repeated janmas, to become Brahman or one with Brahman?
Yeah, that's actually in the avatars like Krishna and Vishnu Pitamaha. All these avatars, they have a special karma. They have a special karma, or they are specially qualified for certain duties. So they are called Adhikari Purushas. So we have gurus, we have acharyas, they are incarnation, we call them as incarnation of God, different gods. So they have special karmas. They are also like us, but they have some special karma, that's all. Like in this earth also we can see many human beings have different levels of karmas. So similarly, they have a special karma, they come and do their duties, and then they are already realized, so they don't have to do any special sadhana for that. After once they complete their duties, they just leave the body and the one with that existence. That is what is that in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan himself says. Sanami Parthasti Kartavya. All this. So this is the theory. It is a bit difficult to understand from the point of view of a human being, as we are experiencing everything here, how we can understand. It takes time, but keep the line, keep the track, and practice that. See, one day we will understand what is the reality. There is no death and there is no blood. So this is the reality. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you so much.
Do we have time for another question, Swamiji?
Yes.
That is Jayashree Narayanji. Jayashree would you please unmute, lower your hand, switch on your video and ask your question.
Hello. Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om.
Pranam Swamiji. Swamiji, could you please explain the space conscious and the consciousness of space again, once again? It's not clear actually.
Space conscious and consciousness of space.
Difference between them, yeah.
Actually, it is from different aspects of consciousness. When we say space consciousness of space. So that of space is connected to our intellect, because we know space is there, space as an object of our knowing. So therefore it is connected with the consciousness. When we make anything as an object of our knowing, as the process is concerned, we are connecting that object with our consciousness. That is called space consciousness. Because we know conscious space, or you deny it, you are accepting, or you like it or unlike it, that's a different thing. But you know it, that's all. So that is called space consciousness, space of consciousness. Now, the another thing, space consciousness is in from cause and effect here, because the space is also appearing or created from consciousness, Satchidananda, as its nature, true nature, essential nature. So, like Prithvi, Jalam, and Vayu, Agni, the space, Akasha is also an appearance of Brahman. So, from that aspect, we can call it space consciousness. The space appeared as, no, sorry, the consciousness appeared as space. That's called space consciousness. Consciousness appeared as space from the ultimate cause. So there the cause and effect theory, and here the knowing and the object and subject. So in both theory, we call it space consciousness. So if we are conscious about space, that is space consciousness, and the space is made from or appearing from consciousness, that's also space.
Okay, thank you, Swamiji. But this space appearing from consciousness is discussed in last chapter only. The space exists. That same thing only.
Sorry, I could not catch your words.
The space exists. That is space consciousness appearing as space. That is discussed in the last chapter. I think it is space exists. We discussed existence of space and all from Maya, how it comes. Is the same?
Yeah, that's what I said. No, here this chapter and from the last chapter we discussed the cause and effect theory. Then the main discussion was cause and effect theory, Pancha Bhutas. And here the Pancakosha, and especially about the theory here we discuss as Pancakosha, space. Space is also because of consciousness, because of me, because of my consciousness, I know space. So if I deny space, I know it. I accept space, I know it. So the negation and the acceptance both are because of my consciousness. So that's the point. So we have to concentrate on that consciousness which is denying, or which knows the denial and which knows the acceptance. So that consciousness, we are concentrating on that consciousness. We are not concentrating on the object as space. Space has nothing to do anything. It has no role here. We are not meditating on that. So that point was the discussion. Therefore, there is nothing to actually so much worry about how it is created, what is created, and how it is changing. It's all false appearance in Veda. We don't waste time for just to know all this. We only catch hold of, we centralize the point, centralize the concentration to the knowing process, how we know it. And we just take up that point, and that is key. Because in my absence, nothing is there. If space is real or unreal, it's the different question. It's a different theory. We don't worry about it. That's all.
Pranam, Sarji, Hariyo.
Thank you. Okay. Any other question?
Not so far. No, Swamiji.
Okay, very good. So I think you understood what I suggested you. So you carry on with that, and some of our admins will give you some guidelines for writing all this. Now it is like no, it is like examination of what you studied. We can call it examination. Actually, it is not examination. We are not giving any mark or number or anything like that. We are only reviewing what we studied. When we revise and repeat our study, the thought process become more clear. Okay. So thank you. Hari Om. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hari Om.